I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, what a fantastic couple. Well, thank you, but and a little bit about Ben as well. And as the proud father of the bride with just one daughter, I'm really hoping this is a one-off event. But it's a real pleasure to welcome everybody finally, and thank those who've taken days off work to come and join us, and those who've travelled from a long distance. Some people over the Atlantic, and some have even come over Hadrian's Wall. And it was a lovely ceremony today. I know that some people were asking me why Ben wasn't wearing a kilt. Some say that Rohan don't sell kilts. But I think it's that he knows that from now on it's only going to be Hannah wearing the trousers. So this is my opportunity to talk about a little bit about the blushing bride, and also an opportunity to loosen Ben up, ready for Luke and Ollie to take him down later.
Very true.
In recent days, people have been talking about the speech, and every time I speak to people, they always preempt what I'm going to say. And here we go again. But I was a little bit concerned with the best men that I might be treading on their toes, so I was a bit careful to try and work out what they were going to say. I didn't think to discuss with the priest, however, that he might tread on my toes. So, in the last 18 months, you've heard this before, we've all watched several boxed sets. But not many of you will have seen the many seasons of The Life of Hannah, and it's definitely to be recommended. Here we have The Life of Hannah, the early years, 3 seasons. And as the priest sort of alluded to, you can sort of merge one series with another, and this particular box set is Modern Family with quite a lot of casualty thrown in, and also quite a severe amount of DIY SOS. It starts with season 1, and there's a heavily pregnant Sue receiving a phone call from her mother, I think it was, who was telling her that her father had gone into Northampton Hospital having fallen out of a tree, no less. The next day, Hannah is also in Northampton Hospital, Sue is also in Northampton Hospital, having given birth to our beautiful baby daughter, Hannah Francis. And then episode 3, there's a strange episode where John is taken in his bed down to the maternity ward, and there are some very strange looks from people who think that medical science hasn't come this far yet. What are you doing with a baby in a bed in maternity? Now, season 2, that was a bit slow, quite tiring, lots of dirty nappies, and that's as far as we're going on that one. Unless, well, no, we won't do that. And season 3, it's Hannah's about to go to school, and the writers have decided it's time to develop her character a bit. They're talking about her sense of humour, how friendly she is with people, and her caring side. And of course, her caring side was really quite important when she was looking after her mother on her first day at school. And yeah, Sue did get a bit emotional, has to be said.
What?
And Hannah was a very popular child at school. She had lots of friends, and indeed one of the teachers actually nicknamed her Sparkly, and I think that's a fair assessment. Anyway, that's the first 3. That's a good watch. We then have episodes 4, 5, 6. This is Hannah, the teenage years. Now, in the early seasons, people will sort of look at Hannah and say, well, she's going to break a few hearts, and I think that's a fair statement. And there was one particular lad, he used to come around knocking on the door quite frequently. We felt he was being a bit of a stalker, really. It wasn't actually Ben, he doesn't appear till season 5. And then the producers approached us and said, look, we're going to have to give her a boyfriend at some point. Have you got any specification for the role? And we put together quite a long list. And then they got their heads together, and the writers came to us, and they showed us the specification for young Master Deegan for season 5. And we were really impressed. We were really So Ben was actually introduced at a teenage party. There's a household party, and in the garden there's a football game going on. So Ben went out to see this football game, and he immediately realised there was only one girl playing, and he also spotted that she didn't know the offside rule. So Hannah has always been quite a girly girl, but also she knows how to be robust and boisterous, and I reckon that's partly because she's got 2 robust and boisterous brothers. However, it could have also be pointed out that the boisterous brothers have probably learned how to be girly girls from their
Oh.
You can be a girly girl too. Crop up later. Where have we got to? Yeah. So I can honestly say that Ben was a really popular character, and the ratings for seasons 5 and 6 actually went really, really high. And we felt pretty confident he was going to take her off our hands eventually. So that's the life of Hannah in the teenage years. And then we have the life of Hannah, the wonk years. This is seasons 7, 8 and 9. And this was quite a traumatic watch. At the beginning of season 7, Hannah's at university, and she has a bilateral pulmonary embolism. Takes her out of university for half a year, but nonetheless, in the final episode, she comes out with a first-class degree, the most meritorious dissertation, and she got the Chartered Society of Forensic Science awarded her prize. So you can't say And then, so Hannah's pretty much chirpy all the time, good fun to be around, but she must have the odd grumpy and sad moment. But we've always found that Ben has been the good antidote, sorts her out. We reckon they've been pretty fabulously scripted, they're well suited to each other, they're relaxed and comfortable in each other's company, they're productive and innovative, and they collaborate really well. So while most of their generation are being woke, they're busy producing wonk. In seasons 8 and 9, they feature quite widely the wider Deegan family and the Needham family, having a lovely endearing episodes where they get on like a house on fire, they have games nights, bowling trips, barbecues, etc, etc. We're really quite keen to see what the writers have got in store for the future episodes of the thing. Now in season 8 episode 3, I just got home from work. I was changing, half naked, and Ben comes into the room. And he fishes in his pocket, gets a box out, shows it to me, and I said, "Is that an engagement ring?" And he says, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, it's a kind offer, but maybe better." And so it was a few days later, they were engaged. In season 9, the writers went a bit wild and they stretched credibility quite a long way, and it saw the 2 of them trying to buy a house to do up in the middle of a global pandemic. So Hannah and Ben were around, and we sort of said, "Look, it looks like there's this pandemic. It's going to be a bad thing. You need to think about where are you going to live." And so Ben disappeared off home, got a fresh pair of underpants, said to his parents, "See you in a couple of weeks."
Exactly what he said. See you in 2 weeks.
About 6 months later, Kathleen had redecorated his bedroom in shades of pink, taking the name off the door. Well, we had a good time with them, and it's got to be said that Ben is completely bonkers, and he does fit in perfectly well. He would, many times he'd come home from work during lockdown, and he'd bring us something to eat or something to drink, and then he'd normally eat it or drink it. He made the fridge something for lunch next day, leftovers, that sort of thing. And in fact, in the next season, Sue and I are going to have to get a dog to replace him. So there it is. It's a humorous and engaging production, thoroughly recommended, and of course, I'm sure you're all interested to know what the future seasons bring. Obviously, I'm not allowed to finish without the fatherly advice. The vicar. Married couples don't always agree with each other, and you might have the odd cross word, of course. And the odd advice that the vicar said is never to go to bed on an argument. And I agree with that, and I think really, Ben, it's up to you. Whatever it was you did, you just have to apologise. So, yes, but honestly, the best advice is to just carry on doing whatever it is you're doing, because it's obviously working. So, with no more ado, I think it's time for the toast. So, I'm going to sit down in a minute. If you would please be upstanding.
Yes.
Good luck with that. Right.
As William read a very nice reading in the church, and it talks about an uncommon love. So I think we should toast them to an uncommon love. So Hannah and Ben, the bride and groom.
Chin chin.
Oh, bloody hell.